All right, good afternoon. Thank you everyone for joining us this afternoon for our session on the RN registration process in Australia. Our team at Blue Education and Migration, we're working closely with the Institute of Health and Management to bring to you this information session and other opportunities to pursue a nursing career in Australia. So the first part of the session will be presented by Cinta John of IQNMs on the registration process for internationally qualified registered nurses and midwives and how IQNMs can assist some of you. Now, I'm sure some of you as well would be interested to gain your registration in Australia, but then after that, what's next? So I'm sure you'll be after work opportunities. So the second part of the session will be presented to you by Blue Education's Managing Director, and he's also a registered migration agent. So Glenn Ong would be able to share with you a strategy to a more permanent pathway for nursing in this country. So I'm going to pass the floor to Cinta to begin her presentation. Okay. Oh, I think it's just you. All right, hang on just a sec. Okay. You could. All right. I'm just gonna. Oh, because we got kicked out. Hang on, we gotta put it back in. Sorry guys, technical error. We're gonna upload it back in because we lost the connection earlier. Okay. Yeah. Just bear with us. Hi. It's just audio. It's just audio, and then we'll be able to flip the video because we have some people on shore, but I think they rather sort of access it online for various purposes. We're getting used to just access it from home. Yeah. Yeah, it's the same one. Yeah. Sorry, guys. I was there earlier. I think my mind's pretty much switched off walking down the road. It's like everyone's having their party already. And here we are. What was I thinking with this session? Holiday mood. Yeah. All right. Yes, almost there. All right, cool. Maybe Cinta can give a little bit of a brief of yourself and IQNMs.
Right.
All right.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you so much for joining this session with Blue Education in association with the Institute of Health and Management. My name is Cinta. I'm Marketing and Sales Manager for Institute of Health and Management. And it's my great pleasure to introduce all the relevant information to the new nursing registration process in Australia that can really help you to make a decision to start your registration process with Blue Education, and then thereby you can gain your registration. So I would like to start with a bit of an introduction about who we are. So to talk about Institute of Health and Management, basically we are a higher education provider specializing in nursing, and we are accredited to TEXA, which is the Tertiary Education Quality Standards. And IHM has been instrumental in finalizing IQNMs nursing registration in Australia for the last more than a decade. So in fact, in the last 1 year, we have trained over 1,500 nurses to attain their registration. And we started catering our bridging program or conversion program to nurses since 2007. And we have got the opportunity to train over more than 15,000 nurses in the last 13 years. So that's where we come with our legacy in training students to get nursing registration in Australia. And also we have campuses located in Perth, Melbourne and Sydney. And as you know, Perth is a regional area, and Perth campus is our regional campus for HCI. I'm just quickly giving you a glance of different courses that can help you to get your registration, to get your points for PPR, and thereby you can have a wonderful future in Australia. So you all know about the bridging program. So we are still doing bridging program for those nurses who have already obtained a decision letter with IHM. Sorry, one second. I'm just moving the slide for you. Right. Okay, guys, so we are on this slide. So I'm just giving you a bit of intro about our various courses. So most of the nurses attending this session, you might be very familiar with the conversion program or bridging program. Yes, IHM is still offering EPIQRN or conversion program to all the students who have obtained a decision letter from APRA before March 2020. And also we have postgraduate courses like GCN and GDN that can help a diploma qualified nurse or bachelor's qualified nurse from an overseas country with a registration to attain your registration in Australia and then get further with your migration process. Also, we do have, for those nurses who would like to come to Australia on a student visa, we have articulations with universities for Master of Nursing that can help you to get you post-study work visa, and then you can work here and apply for PR. And also we have a new addition to our scope, which is NCAP, which is Nursing Career Advancement Program. That is a preparatory course that can help you to get your nail down your OBA exams for the new prospective nurses who wants to apply for nursing registration. Along with, we have some English for academic purpose course, which can help you to get, if you don't meet the requirements for GDN or GCN, and if you want to come down on a student visa, we can actually help you. We can package you with an English program to get your student visa for the courses. So this is just a bit of overview about the IHM courses that can help you to get registration in Australia. So initially I mentioned that IHM specializes in nursing. So this is where I would like to emphasize the demand for nurses in Australia. So you all are wanting to get registration, and you need to know that if you are actually processing or if you are in a decision-making stage, you are actually heading into the right decision, because Australia is in huge demand for nurses. And this demand is still rising because basically Australia has an rising aging population like in the UK. So therefore, if you are really a bachelor's or diploma qualified nurse, this is the right time and opportunity in Australia to gear up your process and apply for your job or PR. And the opportunities. So this slide will indicate you the opportunities for internationally qualified nurses in Australia. As you can see that healthcare workers have always been welcome to Australia, with nurses and midwives particularly in high demand. So I have also mentioned the job opportunities available in Australia. So there are likely to be around 147,000 job opening in the next 5 years. So we welcome you to be one of those nurses who is lucky enough to get that job in Australia, and thereby you can have a wonderful life ahead as an RN in Australia. So we have actually shared the opportunities and the demand for nursing. At the same time, I would like all the nurses who is attending this session to know about the benefits of being becoming a registered nurse in Australia. So in overseas, you might be from India, from other parts of the world, from Philippines and Malaysia. So you might be knowing the what exactly you are earning in terms of a registered nurse in your country. Whereas in Australia, you have the potential of getting an average of 77,000 annual income a year. So definitely, I think this will be one of the key motivating factors for any nurse to come over to Australia. Australia is one of the highest, one of the countries that pays nurses the best salary around the world after US. And also, if you can see, if you come to Australia and work as a registered nurse, you're entitled to get hourly salary, and especially on Saturdays, Sundays, and also public holidays, you can get double and 1.5% above your average salary. So this will be one of the main attractions we can propose to you, or we can pose to you in in deciding why you want to, or the benefit for moving down to Australia compared to any other states or any other world. So I would like to give you a bit of information about GCN and GDN. So this course is mainly suitable for an internationally qualified diploma nurse who is aspiring to get their registration. So with your diploma from overseas, a nurse won't be able to get your registration because you're not meeting the APRA's requirement for registration. So before going on to the course information, maybe I can give you a bit of information on the nursing registration bodies in Australia. So NMBA, which is Nursing and Midwifery Board of Australia, is the nursing council in Australia. And for NMBA, APRA, which is Australian Health Practitioner Regulatory Agency, is the body who does your qualification assessment. So APRA has around 5 registration standards to assess an international qualified nurses, to give them eligibility, or to give them to give them registration requirements, or give them registration in Australia. So out of the 5, the 3 main registration standards will be qualification, recent experience, and also the English requirement. So if you're a diploma nurse from overseas, you need to have your qualification level is assessed as AQF level 7, whereas APRA's requirement for registration is your diploma qualification is assessed as AQF level 6, whereas APRA's requirement is AQF level 7, which is equivalent to bachelor's. So if you're a diploma nurse, you need to definitely, the first step you need to make is to upskill your qualification, for which we can offer, or IHM can offer you a GCN or a GDN qualification that will help you to upskill your qualification. So I'm just quickly going through this course. So you will be upskilling from AQF level 6 to 8, and you have the option to do an online or on-campus study. So you can contact Blue Education to know more about the courses and to check your eligibility criteria. Our consultants and counselors at Blue Education, they are very well versed with the nursing registration process, and they can 100% guide you with the right process and the right courses, so that you have a smooth transition from your current status to your registration and later for your migration. So I'm just quickly skimming through this information. So GDN and GCN, it's AQF levels 8, and if you're currently on a student visa, you still have an option to do this course online and meet your requirements, because we get a lot of students who has a diploma of nursing from overseas, but they will be doing some other course. You still can do an online study and meet your requirements for registration, and then apply for APRA's registration. Otherwise, if you are a nurse from overseas who are planning to start your RN registration process, you can consider coming to Australia, or to apply for a student visa and then start the process in Australia, or else you can still start the registration process from abroad. So you have an opportunity to do this registration process at the flexibility of your place. So some of the benefits I would like to highlight to you if you do GDN or GCN. So this would be the best pathway for internationally qualified diploma nurses to get registration. So the reason I am saying this, because this GDN or this postgraduate course in association or in articulation with masters will be the most affordable course any student can get in Australia. So I will go into the details in my further slides, but for diploma nurses, if you check with any providers or any universities, you will find this course as the best suitable for your nursing registration. And our courses, IHM courses, has global recognition. So if you are a nurse who is considering different locations, or if you're considering to migrate to UK, Canada, or New Zealand, still our qualifications are recognized in these countries. And in last couple of weeks back, we've got SS accreditation in Ireland, and our GCC accreditations are currently happening. So soon, we are hoping to get more validations and accreditations from other countries. And another good news of doing a GDN is, from your diploma level, usually you won't get an opportunity to upskill directly to masters. However, if you are a diploma nurse residing in any other, outside Australia, you can directly apply for masters through GDN pathway. So from AQF level 6, you can apply for a AQF level 9, but your pathway will be IHM's 1-year GDN plus Master of Nursing. And you can see these are our partners for master's program. We have University of Wollongong, Charles Darwin, Griffith, and also we have Flinders. Sorry, I think I missed to add the logo here. Okay, and if you're doing a 2-year study, as you guys are aware, you will be eligible for a post-study visa if you're undertaking a master's program. So you can check more information or details about the post-study requirements with Blue Education. So I think this slide would be the most interesting slide for all the participants here. So this is about the changes in Australian nursing registration process. So as you are aware that all of you might be very familiar with the conversion program. However, if you are a nurse who wants to start your registration process, you will have to undergo through outcomes-based assessment. So in March 2020, NMBA has changed the registration process in Australia, and now the process is called outcome-based assessment. So EPIQRN or bridging program has been replaced by outcomes-based assessment. So if you want to know more about outcome-based assessment, please you can contact Blue Education, and their consultants will be able to advise you with or guide you through the new OBA process. And also part of completing your OBA process, if you would like to take some sort of preparatory course to help you pass your NCLEX RN or OSCE, you can contact Blue Education, and they can guide you to join our preparatory courses. So that's pretty much about the OBA. So basically, I'll just give you quick information. So if you ask me what is OBA, OBA has 2 stages. So the first stage is NCLEX MCQ, which is an online exam you can undertake from approved NCLEX RN PT centers. For example, we are located in Perth, and in Perth, we have only 1 PT center, which is in the city. So if you can also go to PT website and check for the approved NCLEX RN centers in your location, and you can work out your stuffs from your place. And also once you pass your MCQ NCLEX exam, you can prepare for OSCE. OSCE is available in Adelaide Health Center, so probably you will have to come down to Australia. So that is pretty much about the OBA process. And also I would like to give you a bit why, if you want to consider IHM, why you need to consider IHM. As I mentioned, we have been well versed and experienced in preparing nurses for registration in the last 13 years. So definitely our faculty, they are highly experienced and skilled and support you to the best to get your registration or to teach you the Australian healthcare practice and prepare you for registration. And also, I think in the beginning of this presentation or beginning of this meet, you might have seen our campus. So we have a wonderful campus in Perth, Melbourne, and Sydney, where if you want to undertake, you can do the course. And also we have an online platform, and also all our courses are affordable. And you have the option. We are also supporting our students to get job once you get your RN registration. So you can contact all this information for all this information to Blue Education team. And probably I think I'm pretty much covered all my slides.
Yeah. Thank you, Sinta.
Right.
Yeah, we'll save some of the questions for at the end for the speakers to address. All right. So I'll invite Glenn to come to the front to speak on his session. Thank you. Thank you, Sinta. Yeah. Thank you.
Everyone, my name is Glenn. I've been registered as a migration agent since 2013, and over the years, a lot of things have changed. And I think getting your registration is only your first step. Now there are so many changes. You have to be very careful that the registration is not the only thing that you need. There are a lot of other things that you need to consider as well. And IHM is a good pathway that we've seen over the years. Not many have guided the students in the right way. So a lot of students will end up taking courses that are not relevant, or they will follow a pathway that takes too long. And that can be very costly because some of these mistakes can cost you your migration opportunities. Where's the...
Oh, sorry, it's at the bottom.
Oh, I can't see it.
Here. Can you bring it there? Yeah, it's somewhere. Coming back here.
Huh?
It's. Can you get it? It's weird. Come.
Can I just do this?
You can. To use the screen.
Okay, that's all right. Yeah, just having a bit of problem with the mouse. Okay, so I think we discussed earlier about the average salary. This one's probably an old one, or maybe it's not for Western Australia, but you're looking at anywhere between 63 to 77,000 per annum. So I think if you do the mathematics and calculate based on your country of origin, it's very, very high. And here the profession is very well respected. And I think if you do get the opportunity to work in Australia, you will see how different the environment is compared to your home country. Okay, so if you can see at the bottom at this point in time, there's about 7,000 odd jobs available. One thing this does not show is the health profession is pretty much an area that sometimes you don't need to actually go online to look for work, because during your placement, during your studies, you would have that opportunity to actually be involved with working in hospitals, working in a health environment, and sometimes you will transition straight away into a job. So often nurses don't even really have to go online to look for jobs. These are just advertising. Maybe they have a unique position or a senior position that they're trying to gain access to nurses already in the marketplace. Because most of the nurses that we talk to pretty much have a job. The struggle they have is, how do I get my permanent visa after I've completed my studies? Okay, so in terms of the migration pathway, there are a few areas that you can consider. One is as a midwife, as a registered nurse in aged care, child and family health, community health, and also as a general nurse. Okay, so there are a lot of different pathways. The specializations all depends on you yourself during your training and sort of the area of interest that you're in. Okay, with the COVID pandemic, there has been an increase in terms of requiring more health professionals in the health area because, look, there has been increased demand. And when there's increased demand, you cannot house a hospital with just a few nurses. There are, shifts that you have to consider because it is a 24/7, industry. You can't say, oh, okay, 9 to 5, I'm shutting down. There's no such thing as a hospital that is not on 24 hours a day. So therefore, that is why there's such a high demand for nurses itself, because it's a workforce that is constantly working. Okay. So if you look at this, this is what we call an occupation ceiling that the immigration department has put, and nursing has always been at the top in terms of places that they have allotted to for migration candidates. And if you look at the invitation as of 21/10/2020, you can see that the number is very low. Okay, at the moment, because of COVID, the department is very cautious about allowing foreign workers into the country because there has been a lot of job displacement from people who have lost their jobs because of this pandemic. So this is a temporary issue that every country is facing. So in order for Australia to protect its local employment market, they have been very careful in terms of the invitations. So it doesn't mean that they're not inviting, it's just that they're becoming more strict, and the numbers proves it. Prior to this period, you will be seeing about 3 to 4 times more in terms of invitations. Okay, so now what it means is after you get your registration, you have to be very careful. There are a lot of things that you have to do to improve your ability to get sponsored, or your ability to actually get the state's approval, or even an employer. So there are many pathways that is available to you. You just have to be careful how you do it. Okay, so yep, it's the right time to apply to be a nurse for your migration opportunity due to the world crisis that everyone's going through at the moment. On top of that, the pay is very good, and yeah, there's a lot of growth in terms of areas of promotion. You don't have to be just a normal nurse. There are a lot of managerial positions. There are a lot of options for you to improve your opportunities. And if you are an overseas qualified nurse with 3 to 4 or 5 years experience, that is actually helpful, because Australia does not only look at your qualification. They don't even look at your registration as, okay, that is the main requirement and that's it. They actually look at your working experience as well. And that is very important, because if you have that experience, then you get your registration after that. You cannot fake the experience. And that's what the employers want to see. They want to see that you are confident. You're confident with the patients. You're confident in what you're doing, because no employer wants to spend their time training you. And for them, it's all about their ability to trust you. And if they can trust you, that is where you will get that extra opportunity to gain favor. And this government, or this country, is pretty much looking for that. And that's why it's called skilled migration. Okay, there's a reason for it. A lot of people are misconceive the idea that, it's an education pathway to migration. No, it's an education pathway to a skilled migration. So that's why your skill is always very, very important. And that's what we always emphasize to all our students when we counsel them. When they're choosing a particular area of profession, we always go back to, okay, can you see yourself in this career? what efforts are you going to put into it to actually make yourself more attractive to the employer? Because if you can meet all the requirements of the migration criteria, employment history being one of them, then it makes it a lot easier for yourself to gain the invitations, to gain the extra points that you need to compete against other applicants. And this is what we've been doing for our students for many, many years. Okay, so why is it beneficial to complete your studies in Australia? Some of you might say, yeah, I've got years of experience, I've got my registration overseas. It seems like all I need to do is this graduate pathway and I can quickly get my options. Well, as I said, the invitations have been more difficult. So points are very important, because say if somebody has 90 points, but someone else has 100 points, same qualifications, same experience, everything on par, but somehow because they studied in Australia, they actually gain extra points over the person who did not study in Australia. And how you pull those points, they're not so easy, because they're looking at, do you have 10 years of offshore experience? Do you have 15 years of offshore experience to gain the extra points? But as soon as you convert your experience plus you have the Australian study requirement, you gain the extra points. So meeting the Australian study requirement, you have to complete 2 years of study in Australia. Okay? No part of that can be distance, but because of COVID, they have made an exemption. So that if you start your studies online, there is flexibility to allow these 5 points to be counted. But they still want you to come on shore. They don't want you to do the whole thing online. And because this particular amendment, I call it fluid, because that means they can change it at any time they want. They might change it to say, well, at least 50% of the component has to be done onshore. So if you had done more, then you lose that 5 points. And losing that 5 points is important when you're competing for migration selection. Okay? So the other part is study in regional Australia. So Western Australia is considered a designated area for regional points, but the requirement is that you do 2 years of study in Australia. Okay? At the moment, there has been no amendment to indicate whether or not, if you do distance education because of COVID, whether you can get this 5 points. As it is, the law says no distance education. That means the entire program has to be done onshore. So you have to be very careful. We don't know if that's going to change. Okay, I don't know if that's going to change. If you want me to tell you if that's going to change, I will say, well, I'm not going to lie to you and say that it will change to benefit you. There are a lot of agencies out there that will argue a point that says, look, if this person gets a cry course, they were supposed to start, but they were not allowed in, so it should be exempted. I said, yes, you can say that, but the law doesn't say that. And that's the thing with migration policy and legislation. It's all about the law, what is written. If there was an exemption, then the exemption has to be written in order for it to be approved. Okay, so one of it is, I think a lot of people might have heard that students who have a 485 visa, which is a post-study work visa, today they release an official amendment to say that you are allowed to get your extra year or 2 years depending on your circumstance. Okay, and the simple circumstance is that you have studied in a regional area, you have in that 2 years of having your post-study work visa remain in that regional area. Then you qualify for 1 extra year if you're in a designated area, and if you're in a regional center, then you get extra 2 years. So they're very, very specific on things like that. Okay. So the other thing of benefit to study in Australia is depending on where you complete your qualification, you might be able to get extra points from the state when the state sponsors you. Okay, so by getting extra points, 190 is a permanent visa, you can get extra 5 points. So say if you were hovering on 75 points, now you will get 80 points. Is that enough? It may or may not. Okay, it depends on the particular profession. It depends on how many people are applying for invites. So it's all on who gets the highest points will get the invitation first. That's why it's very important to always look at getting the maximum points. Don't try to take the shortcut route and say, what is the minimum English I need to score? What is the minimum working experience I need to get? You know, what is the minimum of, all these credentials I need to get? Because if you're looking at the minimum, you're not going to be competitive, okay? For the 491 visa, this is a provisional visa that leads to permanent residency, and the points is a lot higher. So it's 15 points, okay? So the 15 points is good, but you do need to meet the requirement. And this is where, if you're confused about the whole process, this is what we're here for, okay? And you can speak to us after you have got your skills assessed, okay? So that's all for me today. If you have any questions that you want to ask, maybe send us a chat message, and then we can see which ones we are able to answer today.
Thank you, Glenn. So does anyone have a question for Glenn or Cinta? Okay. Yeah. Anyone at all? If not, we have the session recorded and we will play it on someone's typing? Yeah. Oh yeah, Beatrice is typing. Okay. We'll let the floor open for a bit more, and you can speak through your speaker or you can actually type the question. So what pathway is available for a student with a bachelor's degree alone with no registration yet? Where does your bachelor's degree come from, Beatrice? The Philippines.
Is it in nursing?
A bachelor's degree in nursing.
In the Philippines, there are many students who doesn't have registration, but can you check with her, why she doesn't?
Yeah. So Beatrice, so you've got your nursing's bachelor's, but you don't have a registration from your home country. But
can we know the reason for not having the registration?
So Cinta has a question. Can we know the reason for not getting the registration? Does it matter?
Yes, because there are a lot of students in Philippines who has registration and who doesn't have a registration. Sure. For them, definitely they have a pathway with other providers, because there are some universities who doesn't require the registration. So definitely you can, check for those providers.
Okay. So maybe we can give two scenarios.
Yes.
Yeah.
Probably,
okay.
Okay, I'm not eligible.
Oh,
to take,
she's an international in
yes.
Philippines.
Then where?
India, because the name is
right.
Yep. So basically, Beatrice, even if you have a bachelor's degree from Philippines, in Australia there are providers who can offer you a bachelor's program or a postgraduate diploma that can give you a registration in Australia. So you need to contact Blue Education, and they can find you the right course for you.
Yeah, but not through IHM.
And not through IHM, because our course requires registration, but there are providers through which you can get into the course.
Yeah, so there are some graduate entry programs at a master's level here in Australia that can actually help a student who doesn't want to go through the bachelor's process again. And so completing that master's program would actually allow you the registration in Australia. And with that registration in Australia, you can take it with you to quite a number of countries and work as a registered nurse.
That's right.
Okay. Does that answer your question? So there's another question in the meantime from Anjali. I'm a registered nurse here in the Philippines and I want to review for the exam.
Right. So Anjali, thanks for your question. So so you're a registered nurse. So definitely you can start the registration process. You can contact Blue Education. They can advise you. So you have to make a decision whether you're going to, start the process in Philippines, or as Glenn advised, that you need to consider the points and your migration pathway as well. So considering all these factors, you need to decide whether you are going to come here on a student visa, and then while studying you can do your registration, or else you can initiate your registration from Philippines. So to know about the OBA process, you can contact them. They will assist you. Sonia and her team, they can assist you with the OBA process, with the self-check, with the all the registration process. They can assist you.
Yes, so how we can start the process for anyone who's actually interested to find out if they are individually eligible for the next step for the OBA process is to get your CV ready.
Yes.
So if you can drop us your CV, we'll then be able to ascertain how many years of experience you've had in the last 5 years, and your registration certificate as well, and then we can move on from there.
Yes.
All right.
So basically, probably if you can send your CV, your bachelor's qualification, and also your registration, so that will help us to determine your eligibility.
Yes. Yeah. Does that answer your question, Anjali? So we don't contact the OBA. We contact APRA. Oh, so you've already registered with APRA last year.
Yes.
Have you gotten an outcome from them?
So I think Anjali has started her OBA process. So I believe you have. Okay. So you are in step 2, and have you done your portfolio assessment, Anjali? Have you completed your orientation?
Oh, step 3.
I need to pay. Okay. So dear, now you have to pay $640 to start your second stage. Okay, you need to pay and take the exam. Okay, so which means you have completed your orientation, you did your portfolio, and APRA has intimated you to take the NCLEX exam. Yes, you need to go to PPE website, and then you need to register, take an exam date, and you need to write the exam. So in order, if you want a preparatory course, if you want help to prepare for the NCLEX exam, you can contact Blue Education, and they can help you to get admission into our preparatory program, and then you can do the 3 months program online, because our So basically for the registration, they need only minimum 3 months. So okay, so so for your registration, so you need to have minimum 3 months of experience in the last 5 years. However, Glenn, can you?
That's what I wanted to know. How many years of experience? Because so Anjali, this is where the concern is. If you're looking at migration pathway, if you only have the minimum requirements to get the registration and you don't have the working experience, you're going to lose out on the points. That means you're never going to be invited, because you're not going to get the additional points for the students who have completed part of their studies in Australia. Because the only way you can replace the points is if you've got at least 10 years of working experience. Then you can replace those points that people use their studies to get. And once you study 2 years in Australia, you have what we call a post-study work visa that gives you the extra opportunity to gain Australian working experience. And that gives you an extra 5 to 10 points, depending on how long you're on that visa. So this is where you become more competitive if you have completed part of the process in Australia. If you only have that from overseas, then you may need to stay in the Philippines or go somewhere else and work for an extra, at least 5 years to be more competitive.
Right. Yeah. And also for Anjali, probably if Anjali can contact Blue Education, because before you write your NCLEX exam, as you know, it is costing around 500 Australian dollars, and we don't want or anybody, they don't want to fail their exam. So it is always recommended to take the 3 months of intensive preparation from, qualified teachers in Australia, so that you can make sure that, you learn about the Australian healthcare system and the nursing care practice, and you can confidently do your PTE. So I will recommend a preparation course for Anjali, so you can get more information from Blue Education. Our next intake is on January 11. And the course fee for NCLEX preparation is basically 3,500, but we are giving a year-end sale at this stage. So if you are enrolling, they will get 1,500 scholarship. So you need to be only paying 2,000 for the whole course, and you can have a very flexible payment plan. But you can contact Blue Education to learn more about the preparatory course.
Yep.
Thank you.
So thank you, Sinta. So Anjali, I hope we've answered your question, and I think what Glenn has touched on earlier has to do a little bit with answering Jen's question. So Jen's question is, if you've studied a year of graduate diploma, is then the student visa valid for 1 year only? How can you apply for PR directly? No, that's not how it works, okay? Yeah, so, oh, Anjali, okay. Oh dear.
The session's recorded. So
yeah, it's recorded. We will send it to you, and we will, if there's our counselors here will contact you directly as well to sort of support you. So for Jen, it depends again. It would be best if we can have your CV and have a look at what you've accomplished. And depending where you're coming from, having just a 1 year student visa is not the most ideal.
Can you check more information about
Yeah, so we need a little bit more information about you. So technically, we're hoping to get students to come in on a 2 year visa, because after that, you've got an option for a post-study work visa. And that's exactly what you want. You've been studying all your life, and what you want is the work experience in Australia. So that's why we don't just stop at the 1 year graduate diploma for a student visa, because that's not very beneficial for the individual who's intending to come to Australia. All right.
So basically what we can suggest for Jen is so if he has a bachelor's qualification, then once he comes onshore, along with studying GDN, we can initiate her registration process. You can assist her. Yeah. Otherwise, if it's a diploma, definitely it's a 2 year course we can recommend.
Yeah. All right. So we'll go back to Jen. Did we answer your question? So ideally, it has to be 2 years of studies. Get your 3 years post-study work visa. If you were actually studying in a regional area, so we're not talking about Sydney, we're not talking about Melbourne, you gotta come to places like Perth or Adelaide, okay? And then after that, oh gosh. Yeah. Oh, and after that, what we'll do is you chalk up your experience or your years working as a nurse, and then we'll review the points for your migration purpose. All right. Okay. Who else? Albert will contact us. Oh, Anjali, can Glenn answer Anjali's question?
5 points. That's it.
All right. Yeah. Are there any more questions from the floor? No?
So Anjali is asking how many?
5 points. Yeah, 5 points. Okay, guys, that's all the time we have for today. So we will be closed on the 23rd till 23rd of December till the 4th of January. But we will still be online. If you guys have any burning questions, please just drop us a line. All right. All the best, everyone. Happy New Year. And we hope that you have a much better year next. All right. Thank you. Oh, so you have to typing. Yay.